Now, this isn't just my opinion, what I'm about to tell you. This comes from actual law in the UK. The Police and Criminal Evidence Act, PACE, is what basically sets out in the UK what the police can and can't do. So the key point here is that the police need a proper reason to think you've done something wrong. They can't just guess, and it's not that they can have a feeling, and they can't just say, well, I don't like drones. They have to have a reason, and that is something that they can point to. Now, this is where some people trip up. They think, well, I know I'm flying legally, so I'm fine. But that's not how this works, because it's reasonable suspicion isn't based on what you know. I'm flying legally, I'm insured, I've got my operator ID, everything's fine. It's not based on that. It's based on what the police can see and what they think that means. And those two things are not always the same. So let me give you a real situation that might happen out in the real world. You're out flying your drone. From your point of view, you're flying within the rules, you know your distances, you're doing everything right. But from where the police are standing, they might see a drone near people, a drone near buildings, a drone somewhere they think it shouldn't be. And that can be enough for them to start asking questions. Not because you've definitely done something wrong, but because they think you might have. Now, the law doesn't just say reasonable suspicion and leave it there. It says they need reasonable grounds, and in plain English, they need to be able to explain it. If someone asked them later, why did you stop that person? They need to be able to answer that with an answer that makes sense. And if they can't do it, that's a problem for them. But here's something most people don't realise. When it comes to drones, there's another layer on top of reasonable suspicion in PACE. And that is the Air Traffic Management and Unmanned Aircraft Act. And this is what gives police specific powers around drones. Under that, they can tell you to land, ask for your documents, search you, and even take your drone equipment. But, and this matters, they still need that reasonable basis. They don't just get to do it because you're flying the drone. Now, here's the part I don't like, and neither should you. There isn't a neat line. There's no exact definition of reasonable or suspicion or reasonable suspicion. There's no exact checklist. There's no moment where anyone can say, right now they're allowed to act under reasonable suspicion and now they're not. It's based on judgment, and judgment can vary. It can vary from police officer to police officer, from situation to situation, and from day to day. So something that looks fine to one person might not look fine to another person. And that's where people get caught out. Now, there's another detail here that matters. Sometimes you'll hear reasonable suspicion, and sometimes you'll hear reasonable belief. Those are not the same thing. Suspicion is, this might be wrong. Belief is, this is probably wrong. So belief is stronger. And depending on the situation, that affects what the police can do. Now that's a differentiating level that most people never even think about. And once they reach that point, this is where it becomes very real. They can stop you, question you, require you to land, search your equipment, and take it not because you've been proven guilty, but because they simply think something's not right. They have a suspicion and they have reasonable grounds to think it's not right. It looked to me, they say, as if you were flying beyond visual line of sight. Now, you may not have been, but they have a reasonable suspicion that you did, and that's enough. It's a big step, and if you don't understand it, you will not see it coming. So let's talk for a minute about how people make this worse, because it happens all the time. You're flying your drone, somebody challenges you. You know you're within the rules, so you push back, you argue, you stand your ground. I get it, I've been there, I've done it.
Right out, yeah.
Uh, uh,
No, don't hand me. You know, like, right out there.
uh,
You
uh,
know you need a license.
no, well, there's
No, show me your license.
But see if the police are involved and you ignore their instructions or orders and you refuse to land if they tell you to, and you escalate the whole thing by asking them, what is your reasonable, articulable suspicion that I'm doing something wrong? You're making their job easier, no harder, because now you're adding to the situation they're already looking at. Even if your flying was fine to begin with, now, on the flip side, this isn't one-sided. They still have to justify what they do. They need to be able to explain what they saw, why it mattered, what made them act. Like, they just can't say it because I felt like it. Because if it ever gets looked at properly, and it will, that matters. One last thing most people don't know. There are situations, they're not common, but they do exist, where police can act without suspicion at all. Specific situations, specific authorisations. So if you think they always need suspicion, or reasonable suspicion, or reasonable articulable suspicion, that's not completely true either. So where does that leave you? As I have often said in these videos, it's actually quite simple. You don't need to memorise legislation. You don't need to turn into a lawyer, especially a barrack room lawyer. You do need to understand this. How your flying looks to someone else, because that's what starts all of this, may not be your intention. It might not be following your experience of flying, and it might not be what you think is happening. But it's what it looks like to that other person if they're a police officer. So if you take anything from this, it's this. Reasonable suspicion isn't about catching you out. It's about perception. And if you ignore that, you are flying blind. And you really want to be flying with all of your senses intact.